In this chapter, we're going to be looking at complex numbers. Complex numbers are a whole new style of number, completely different from anything we've seen before. This is a huge area of mathematics and a really exciting topic to delve into. In this video, we're just going to begin with the definition of a complex number, what an imaginary number is, and look at a few examples of them. So let's begin with the following thought experiment. Imagine a world where we only had whole numbers. Can we do maths only using whole numbers? So I'm going to represent this set of whole numbers with this bubble. That's n for natural numbers. So we're actually just going to think about positive natural numbers now. For example, 1, 6, 124, all good whole numbers, positive whole numbers. Well, here's an equation that we could solve. It only has whole numbers in it, along with x and plus and equals. Well, if I remove 1 from both sides, I get 2x equals 6. And if I divide through by 2, I get x equals 3. So there was an equation that worked perfectly well, only using whole numbers. But how about this? Well, if I try to solve this, if I subtract 9 from both sides, well, I do not get a whole number on the right-hand side. So, conclusion, we need negative numbers. It's impossible to do coherent maths without negative numbers. I know that's no surprise to you, but I'm building up to an important point. See, to solve this one, if I take 9 from both sides, I end up with negative 4 over here, right? There's no way to solve this equation without leading to a negative solution. So, positive numbers are not enough. So we expand our world, so it doesn't only include positive whole numbers, it includes all integers, including the negatives. And we'll represent this with this bubble here. So the set of integers includes the positive integers, the natural numbers. So let's continue this. Imagine a world where we only had integers, so positive and negative whole numbers. Can we do maths only using integers? Well, let's see. So here's a perfectly sensible looking equation. It's got a mixture of positive and negative whole numbers in it because it's minus 1x. So if I begin by subtracting 4 from both sides, I get negative x equals 2. And finally, if I multiply both sides by minus 1, I get x is negative 2. So no problems there. I had an equation only featuring positive and negative whole numbers, and I got a solution which was just a negative whole number. What about this equation? Well, if I add 1 to both sides, I get 4x equals 3. And now I've got no way of solving this without using a number outside of my current world. What sort of numbers do I need? I need fractions, right? The answer to this is x equals 3/4. So it's not possible to do coherent maths only with positive and negative numbers. You will always be forced into a solution which is something else, in this case fractions. So let's add fractions to our worldview. So this is the set Q. The letter Q represents rational numbers. So inside the rational number set is all of these kind of fractions, positive and negative, and also all of our whole numbers as well, both negative and positive. So we continue. Imagine a world where we only had rational numbers, so any number that can be written as a fraction. Can we do maths only using rational numbers? Well, let's see. So here is an equation that only features rational numbers. Remember, 1, it doesn't look like a fraction, but we can write it as 1 over 1. In fact, any positive number, a whole number or negative whole number, we can write as that over 1. So they're all rational. So I can solve this by saying, well, x over 2 is equal to, if I add a third to both sides, I get 4/3, and doubling both sides, I get x equals 8 over 3. So, perfectly sensible equation, only featuring rational numbers, and the solution is rational. But what about this one? Here's an equation that only features rational numbers, and yet what's the solution to this? Well, x squared is 2, and that means that x is plus or minus, well, it's the square root of 2, famously not rational. So we need irrational numbers as well. So even if you think you can do maths only with Rational numbers, you can write equations using just rational numbers that lead to irrational solutions. So we need irrational numbers. So here's the set of all rational numbers. So this includes roots, things like root 2. It includes things like a mixture of roots and rational numbers like root 3 minus 2. That is an irrational but real number. And it includes famous numbers like pi and e. Of course, it also includes fractions and everything else inside. So here's the question. Imagine a world where we only had real numbers. Can we do maths only using real numbers? And this is the sort of maths that we've been doing so far. We've been trying to do maths only using real numbers. So here's an example of an equation with only real numbers in it so far. Can I solve it? Sure I can. I could complete the square for example, x minus 1 squared minus 1 minus 2 equals 0. We get x minus 1 squared equals 3. And we end up with solutions of x equals 1 plus or minus root 3. So that's fine. It's an irrational solution, but it's certainly a real number, both of those. What about this one? Well, it's an equation made up only of real numbers. All of the numbers in it are real. If I try to solve this, what happens? Well, I get x squared equals minus 1. Now, typically, up until this point, that's where we stop. We just say that has no solutions. But really, that's like going back to here and saying, well, I can't take the square root of 2 because that would be irrational, and pretending that there wasn't a solution just because it didn't fit into our current model. What did we have to do? We had to essentially invent a new type of number, or discover a new type of number. We discovered that there was no solution to this within our current framework of rational numbers, and so it was the irrational numbers that came to the rescue. Well, that's what we need to do here as well. We don't just stop and say, well, there's no solutions. We say, no, there is a solution. I just need to name it. So the square root of negative 1 is clearly not a real number because no real number multiplied by itself is minus 1. What do we need? We need imaginary numbers. So the first imaginary number, the one that everything else is built out of, is the answer to this question. And obviously when you square root something you get plus or minus, but I'm going to stick to the positive one. By definition, we say that I squared. I is the imaginary number, and when you square it, you get negative 1. So it is a number outside of our current system of numbers. It is not a real number. Okay, no amount of i's added up will get you to any real number. But when you square it, you get minus 1. And so the answer to this equation is that x is plus or minus I. Because when you square that, whether it's positive or negative, that cancels to positive, and I squared is negative 1. So that is the imaginary number, right? That is the start of this whole topic of complex numbers. There's this number I, which when you square it gives you minus 1. It's not a real number, so you will never come across I apples or I people. It's not a counting number, but that, although that seems strange, it's not too strange because you'll also never find negative 3 apples. Right, you might have some notion of what that would mean, like maybe you owe someone 3 apples, so you have negative 3, but that's really just a sort of construct that we can use to make sense of something like owing someone something. You've never seen negative amounts of anything, so these negative numbers are also abstract. So complex numbers are equally abstract. So we call this set of numbers that we have to add in the complex numbers. And complex numbers are just any numbers that include at least some imaginary part. So for example, I, right, the square root of minus 1, that's a complex number. But so are other ones like 3i or minus 2/3 I or root 5i. And so are ones where we have combinations, like imagine the number 2 plus 3i. That's a complex number. 2 plus 3i is a complex number, just like root 3 minus 2 is a real number. It's irrational, but it's a real number. We can have combinations like this. So our complex numbers are just the set of all numbers that have potentially a real part, but definitely an imaginary part. In fact, complex numbers includes everything. So technically, 2/3 is a complex number. It's just one that has no imaginary part. So we can think of, in general, a complex number being one that we can write as a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers. And so we think of a complex number as having a real part and an imaginary part. So this is our new family of numbers. And what's interesting about this is, in all other cases, we ran into trouble. For example, I can write down an equation for you like this, x squared plus 1 equals 0, that doesn't feature any complex numbers, and yet the solution to this is a complex number, or two complex numbers. You can't actually write down any equations with complex numbers where the solutions aren't complex. It's in some ways a complete set of numbers. It's a complete number system. You can't really ask a question with these numbers where the answer isn't also one of these numbers. So there's the introduction to complex numbers. The key point is that I squared is minus 1. Everything else follows from that.